Adrian, let's start with the boring stuff then.
There's
What's your
nothing
squad
boring,
looking
Trev.
like for? Sorry,
It's all positive stuff. Nothing boring.
what's the squad looking like for this week then?
Yeah, that's certainly not boring. We've got a few faces back in consideration for this weekend, so that's pretty exciting. I know it'll take a few weeks for the players that do come back to find a little bit of form in that, so I'm aware of that as well. But the squad looks probably the healthiest it's been all season, so I think in there will be included John Asiata will be included, Robbie Mulhern, Gaz O'Brien. Yeah, they're the main ones at the moment that'll be added to that squad. You just got your mute button on, Trev.
So that's really good news, Lammy. But
Yeah,
how much match fit are they? Are they
yeah.
ready to do big minutes if need be?
I don't think they're quite where they need to be ready wise. Obviously, half the season's gone; they haven't played, and you need to play games to get to your fitness and load where you need it to be. So it's going to take some weeks for them to get to their max. But we've just got to make sure that we get the changes right if they play, and how much time they have within that 80-minute game.
How valuable has been the extra week
Yeah.
through the international break for you?
Well, it's been very, very positive for us because we've had a few boys that have had HIAs as well, which made sure that they got through that process. Both of those will be ready in the sense of Gaz O'Brien and Tom Amone. But it's been a week where we've sort of enjoyed really because we could focus on making sure that those players that were 50-50 last week are more of a chance this week.
Is this about the fullest squad you've had to pick from this season then?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty much so far. The only other ones I guess that is Ollie Holmes. It's not quite ready. Ben McNamara that's still got a niggly. So, but yeah, the key players are obviously our forward pack with John Asiata and Robbie Mulhern. John's still going to give him up till kick-off to be right, and that decision will be made right at the last minute. But Gaz O'Brien and Robbie Mulhern will definitely be playing.
And I guess if you need a fully fit squad, it's against any team. It's against Wigan who are doing so well this season.
Yeah, they're flying at the moment, obviously, and a lot of their players are in pretty good form. A lot of them were rewarded last week with a jersey in the England side, so they're flying. So it is a really important game for us. I know they're going to see that and identify that within what we're about, but yeah, we've got an opportunity here to make sure we play well and get the 2 points.
I know since you came back into Super League, you've been breaking all kinds of records of wins against teams. Obviously, the double over Catalans this season, for instance. But you're still waiting for that win at the DW, aren't you? So how optimistic you can get that monkey off your back as well?
Yeah, I think it's important that we do that. Last year we beat every team except for the two teams that played in the grand final, ironically. So that was Catalan and Wigan, and this year we've managed to beat Catalan once or twice now. So the goal would be to try and beat Wigan in one of the next two games that we play them. So one of the games is still owed to us from round 2 on the World Club Challenge, which isn't about 4 or 5 weeks anyway. So both games come around really quickly. But yeah, I think we've been in every game we played against them. We just haven't been able to get our game management right and our game smarts right at key parts and moments in those games. So it's something we're going to work really hard on making sure we do right this time around.
Sorry, I know you've been saying for a few weeks, Lammy, that you've got to start winning. You don't want to get cast adrift too much, but you really have got to start winning now. And this isn't going to be an easy game, is it?
No, we're aware of that, and I hope there's a performance that reflects the importance and urgency around this 2 points in this weekend. So no better opportunity than to play against one of the best clubs in Super League in the world, and it's on Friday night, and it's a local derby. It should be a big crowd there, and everyone's looking forward to it.
You mentioned about the players coming back. Can I just ask you about Aaron Penne's debut at Leeds? I mean, I think he impressed quite a few people. Yep. Were you suitably impressed as well?
Yeah, obviously been tracking him for a long time now, the last 18 months. So he's a player that I think is going to have a really big future here at Leigh. I think he'll set Super League alive once he feels like he belongs here, and he gets the trust and earns the trust from the players around him. And I think he'll be a real player to watch in Super League for the rest of this year and every year moving forward. I was really pleased with him.
And just a last couple. I may have missed something along the way in the last few weeks. How's Darnell McIntosh? Is he injured or just not quite up to speed yet? What's the position with him?
No, Darnell's come in, obviously, a player that is our future over the next couple of years, and he's been sitting behind the outside backs to get an opportunity, and has been 18th man nearly every week. So I think he played against Huddersfield, and I think the players that have been in the 17 or in the starting 13 have done a job, what I believe to have done a job for us in recent weeks. So it's been hard just to push Darnell in there and leave someone else out. So players are on notice about making sure that they perform. I'm looking forward to giving them a go at the next opportunity, and that may be next week. It may not be for the rest of this year. So I've had those conversations with Darnell, and he's aware of that. I'm sure he's a bit frustrated that he's not playing, but the philosophy for me as a coach is to give the players an opportunity to play well every week and to do what I've asked. And if they can do that, well, they hold their spot. So that's the current position. So nothing will change there unless something doesn't go quite to plan.
Yeah, I mean, any new player that comes to a club wants to impress straight away if possible. I mean, he's been used to regular starting places at Hull or Huddersfield, so it must have been quite frustrating for him. Yeah,
and it is. I'm sure it is every week. But we brought him here because we see a future with him here in one of our positions, in our 13 or in our 17. He understands that, but it's a similar situation to what Josh Charnley did when he came when we were in 2022. We were in Championship. He came, I think, in July and never played for us. Though only played a couple of times, I think, but wasn't in the final team for promotion. Wasn't because the players that were playing, they were doing a great job. So again, my philosophy is to for those players to hold on to the positions while they can, unless something doesn't work out. So I've had that same communications with Darnell, and we're in a pretty good place there. You got your mute button back on, Trev.
Bloody hell. Sorry, Lammy. Just a last question, sort of two in one. I don't know whether he will play or feature on Friday, but Jack Farrimond had a great home debut for Wigan recently.
Yeah.
He's a Leeds lad.
Yeah.
Lewis has done really well at Leeds Rhinos. You obviously let him go a couple of years ago. I mean, those are the type of players that you want to keep in for Leigh going forward if you can, aren't they?
Yeah, Louis, we didn't want to let go. He made a choice to leave here and head to Leeds. But Farrimond is obviously a local junior, and these players are the players that we want to keep moving forward. We've got an academy that's been awarded to us for next year system, so that license and we can start building. But that's going to take 4 or 5, 10 years to get right. But at least we've got the opportunity, the license to build those and recruit our scholarship players within the Leigh district. So, we're excited about that. And Jack may end up playing here one day, who knows? But our endeavour will be to make sure that we bring as many young players of the local clubs within our Leigh area into our scholarship and into our academy, and hopefully, albeit, most of the team in 4 or 5 years or so playing out from players that are locally from out of Leigh.
Fantastic, that's great. Thanks, Lammy. Cheers.
No problem.
Hi, Lammy. How are you? You all right?
Good. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good.
I just want to ask you about you as a coach, really, from your time at Wigan to where you are now.
Yeah.
What do you think you've learned and developed on the most?
Oh, I think there's been a fair bit of development. I think at Wigan I shared the coaching role around probably a bit too much there, and I think the biggest thing I've learned here is just to make sure that they have my voice most of the time. So not only off the back of that, I think as a coach you've got to keep learning every year, regardless of what you do and where you go. And I've learned a lot here as a coach, just with being indifferent in the Championship and then into the Challenge Cup and then Super League and staying up and rotating our squads. There's been an incredible amount of learning from me. We've had majority of our better players not play this year in season. It's been hard to try and work our way through the season and stay in contention and make the six when those players have been out. We've had, I think John Asiata, we mentioned earlier, is coming back now. I think he's only played one game or two games. So, those players are players that have been playing or in the dream team, the 2023 dream team. So, we're always learning regardless of where you are. I'm still living in the same house though as I was when I was coaching at Wigan. So nothing's changed there. It's probably a home ground for me. But this Friday night we're heading to the stadium there. But it's a big game for us. We're aware of that, and we've making sure that with everyone now being able to be selected, it'll give us a better chance.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of about the players coming back and how well documented you made it about trying to get into the top six. Are you the sort of coach who will now look at the games in the rest of the season and go, okay, well, that's where I expect us to get a certain number of points, and this is the tally that I think we might need? Or are you just genuinely looking at it game by game and momentum?
No, there's a bit of a story there and a bit of a plan. So the players are aware of that. It's something that we talk about at the start of the season. We've got short-term, medium, and long-term goals that we set. There is a path or a route that we need to take, and they understand clearly what it is. So, we do need to start winning now and nearly every week. So we're under a fair bit of pressure. But I think sometimes when those situations occur, that's when groups can be brought together and certainly get on a roll. And we need to do that. It needs to start this week.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thanks, Robin.
Hi, Adrian. Hope you well.
Drew, well, yourself?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. The club announced the signing of Dav Armstrong last week.
Yeah.
It's a massive coup for the club and for Super League, of course. Yeah. Just take us through the negotiations, because obviously you've made no secret of the fact that you've admired him from afar for a long time. Yeah. But then he made his NRL debut, but he didn't just make his NRL debut, he started to impress in the NRL, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a player, again, that we've had an eye on for about 18 months, and because he's contracted there, you've got to wait until he comes off contract for any further negotiations or to be a chance of getting him. So obviously we try to get him to play here because he was behind two or three players there, and I think part of the key as coach is to make sure you identify talent regardless of what competition they're playing in around the world, and it's one thing that we do reasonably well here. So, I think he's going to set Super League alight, down a similar path of Bevan French and Joe Fields, similar style of play, but he's also only very, very young. He's here for 3 years plus on top of that. He's a player that can learn in our system here, and hopefully as coach I can take him to the next level as a player. That's my role. That's what my responsibility is going to be. But I think for the Leigh fans, just speed like no other. Just incredibly quick. He's got that try scoring nous where he'll just turn up out of nowhere and get one of those tries. He's very tough defensively. He's got a good body shape, and I think he'll certainly suit the way that we play as a team. And we need a bit of speed as well that we've identified at this club moving forward. So he's one of those players that are going to come to us and hopefully make us better in the immediate future.
Yeah, he's obviously not here till next season, but the club have tied him down long term. Is that, in your opinion, a strong statement from the club of where you want to go to in this 5 or 6 year plan for yourself, Adrian?
Yeah, I think so. It's we are in a position at the moment where, like I said, we've identified where a few weaknesses may be in our current squad, and we want to change the way that looks. And there'll be probably a few more signings to announce by the end of the year that we can share with the fans at some stage. But some of our players will be leaving at the end. That's been quite obvious. Tommy Briscoe's gone halfway through the season, so we've got to keep evolving and making sure that we're on top of our retention and our recruitment. And I think it's an area that it's quite exciting to do, especially turning the players over. I think we had 13 new players come here this year. I think there was 12 last year. So we're forever turning it over to get the right team. And again, with the philosophy of our academy side, eventually, I would like this team to have 90% of the players being Leigh lads born and bred and played junior rugby here. So that's something we've got to look forward to, but that's a long-term goal that we can see within 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, just on Davey, a last one on Davey. Do you envisage him sort of being that long-term fullback?
Yeah, he's very professional. Everything that he does, he's got that X factor about him where he can break tackles, and if anyone makes a break, he's so quick that he can snuff that out and have that X factor where he can break the game open like French and Field do for Wigan. So it's something that we're pretty excited about. We'll get a whole off season with him before he comes, unless things happen sooner, which they're not planned at the moment. But you never know with the way that things go. But I feel that we're excited about getting him here as soon as he can.
Yeah, and Keenan Brown's gone to Widnes on loan, and Nathan Miles headed to Doncaster. Is that just purely for match sharpness? Because I know they've had their injuries this year.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of players having to play minutes once they're coming back from injury. If I'm to use Keenan Brown in the next month, I'd prefer that he played 80 times 4. What's that? 160, 320 minutes of rugby underneath his belt to come into our system as opposed to nothing at all. So, if those players are there and they're playing, they're getting some form up, we'll leave them there, and if we need them back, we'll call them back to play. So, there'll be probably a few more players going out on the back of that because we're getting a few more players back. So those players get an opportunity to play well every week and obviously put themselves in the picture to be selected in the weeks to come.
Good man, Adrian. All the best on
Trev.
Friday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Adrian. How are you doing?
Hey, Cal. Okay.
Yeah, good, thank you. You spoke about new signings there. How many do you think you'll be planning to bring in for next season?
That's a hard one to answer, and that's on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. But it's something that we'll work on. Really meeting with Chris Chester and Derek and Neil just about every day, every week to make sure we get that right. So it's a difficult one to answer at the moment, but the owner Derek is very positive about spending the full cap and making sure that we bring the players in that we need to, and we let go of the ones that we need to. I think we're on a very aggressive path at the moment with that. We want the team to look a particular way in the next 2 to 3 years, and I think we've started that with a really good signing with Dav Armstrong. So pretty excited with what's ahead for that.
And you spoke about some of your players that they'll be leaving on loan towards the back end of the season. Who could we be looking at in that respect? On
players going out on loan?
Yeah,
I think we got players like Baxter that needs to go out, Tom Nisbet that will need to go out, Keenan Brown as we mentioned. We've got Derbyshire, we've got Wild. Everyone that's outside of that 19-20 at the moment will potentially look at moving on. We got Louis Brogan at Widnes as well with Keenan Brown. So we're doing everything we possibly can. It's great for the players. I don't want them sitting around not playing and waiting for an opportunity. They need to get out and play some rugby and find some form. So it suits everyone.
Cheers, Adrian. Good luck.
All right, Cal.
Thank you.
Adrian, can I just jump in for one final one on the back of that then? So how do you think the reserve setup is working then if these guys are having to sort of go out on loan?
Well, it just depends, Trev. It depends on the priority of the first team and what we need from those players. Obviously, the reserves are every other week, every second week, and if we can get them to play in that reserves, we do and we will. But I think we brought up one of the reserves on the weekend to train with us just to show that he's done a pretty good job in young Whittle there. So. We're doing our best with what we can with the reserves, but these players need to play every week as opposed to every other week with reserves. So we've got to find a fine balance between that. But it's certainly been a real advantage for us having them play in the reserves this year. They've had some really good wins and also performing really well. And like I said, any player that goes good with potential there, we're going to bring up and train with us as often as we can.
Smashing. Thanks.
Thanks, Trev.